I really believe that everything that I have been given comes from God. So my family, how I was brought up, my schooling, my job, my husband, my new baby, like everything, I strongly, strongly believe everything comes from God.
For me, that's got to be the beginning point. That it's not mine. Sometimes I think it's mine, but I have to remind myself it's not. So that's the principle.
Our job is whatever we've been able to attain our funds from were given to us by God. So we feel like it's only natural that we should be able to, give it back to Him.
Whether it's time or whether it's our family or whether it's money or our material things, it's all God's. So, that's where we come from.
But management is very, very important. Part of management that I think most people don't think of would be to set goals. Goals are extremely important in life. If you don't have a goal, then you may just spend all of your money.
I was living a lifestyle where I was spending more than I was making because of the credit cards. It gave me false wealth, and then it got me in a debt. And then I would have to borrow money to pay the debt and to pay off the debt. So that was one key thing. I think it's just learning how to budget.
We try to be frugal. We don't spend it just frivolously. We sort of think about what it is that we're buying.
I think the number one thing is to really be able to distinguish between what you want and what you need. Mm-hmm. And once you can figure those two things out, then you can say, whenever you go out to get something, is this a want or a need? And I think if you can do that, you won't spend as much. Okay? Then when you have the excess, then the question is, what do I do with it?
God's not here to develop the money. You are. We're here as representative of God.
I think as a Christian, one of the main principles that we try to follow is that of tithing.
Give 10% to the Lord, save 10%, and then spend the rest with joy and gladness, being thankful that God is giving you the resources to enjoy what He has given you.
10% is of a gross is a good way to start, and go from there. I guess the most important thing is in the heart, but I think just for me as a starting point, I think that's a good one that I want to shoot for.
Giving, I don't think is an option for a Christian. Like it's a part of our life.
It's not something that's done because you feel guilty, or that you're going to be saddened because you're going to, give so much away. It should be something that is you feel good about it. I'm at the stage where I've been asking God for a long time, what do you want me to do with all that you've allowed me to manage? That's a big part of my life now. I'm just looking forward, and I wait, and sometimes I think, I said, I'm just sitting on this stuff. I don't want to just sit on it, right?
Yeah.
We want to do something.
I would encourage, people who have not tithed before, it's, when I first did it, it's a big step. 10%, it's like to church, I don't get anything out of it, but you do get something out of it, I think God will bless you in ways that you may not know at first. And I think when you look back on it and you say, oh yeah, God, I think started working this way then, and it makes money not as important, I think. That's part of it.
I would rather bless somebody else, that really doesn't have, the essentials to live. And I just feel like I'm really blessed. I have the basics. I don't need anything fancy, but I would rather give to someone that, has no food or water.
I think from my perspective, I think God has been faithful. I always hear this, you can't outgive God, and from our practical experience, that holds true for us.
Everything that we have has been given to us by God, and I just owe God everything.
The blessing comes in different forms. It comes in disguise, and it's just not always money. And yes, right here, the biggest blessing of all. Yeah. my mom always told me, Brian, you're never gonna get married. And so, yeah, I proved her wrong.
God gave his son. If you're married, if you have a child, would you give your son up for something like that? To really grasp that, you would want to give. You would want to give back. It's the only thing I can say. To make Christ's death personal, I created a scenario in my mind where I'm in a war and there's bombs and mortars and stuff going all around and I'm running. I see a foxhole. I jump in this foxhole and there's someone in there. Bombs are going off around me. The person says, hi. He says, how are you doing? He says, you can tell by all the bombs happening around here. And then all of a sudden there's a thud. And this other person said, grenade. And he jumps on it. And it explodes. And I go over and I roll him over. And it's Christ. And he says to me, are you okay? Well, that's Christ's cross. And I bring it down to a personal level for myself. That's how I feel. He does something like that. How can you not give back?